I remember one time I met Sting there. It's kind of funny. He's a pretty funny guy. We meet him at the hotel, and I get in the car in the front seat, and Charlie's driving. He said, they sing, this is Bruce. He's with the police. And he goes, I used to be with the police too. That was how we met. So.
You're listening to Studio 22.
Welcome to Studio 22. I'm Will Meldman here with Brock O'Hearn.
What's going on?
Today, our guest is Bruce Cardenas. I feel like you've lived 1,000 lives. And
999.
Yeah. We're getting to 1,000.
I got a couple left.
Yeah, man. Me and Bruce go way back. How long has it been since we met?
Gosh, I was telling somebody, you did one of our Quest commercials. Remember, was it the launch of the pizza or it was pizza?
I mean,
right?
it was. I did like I did pizza. I did chips. I did were they donut? No, it was cookies.
Cookies.
It was
yeah.
Cookies.
And we did that shoot. We had a house for like 2 days, and there was that couple of actresses and you.
Yeah. And then they had pizza, like the little Caesars in the back, like stacked in the background. That shit was so, dude. Every time I shot with him was so much fun.
Yeah.
And I remember, I broke my heel like the week before I did one of those shoots, and they were trying to put me in a boot. A cast. And I was like, you're not putting me in a cast. It's like, I have to shoot this. I have this like huge campaign. I can't miss it. I can't mess this up. You put me in a boot. Like, I just will keep it on. Like, I'm not putting a cast on. Because one of the shots was literally like my feet walking, you know? Oh, yeah. I got a boot and it ended up working out. So that was nice because I could take it off.
Wow.
But Quest was.
So we had a little history.
Yeah. No, absolutely. When did you start with Quest Nutrition?
It really happened serendipitously. I was in the gym. I had my own successful bodyguard business, and I was involved with the biggest limousine company in LA. And the founder of Quest, honestly, she was an attractive woman who did cardio. And I do cardio next to her, making small talk, and she always read bodybuilding magazines. And you get to know your gym friends, right?
Yeah, gym friends, yeah.
One day she said, hey, I want you to try this protein bar. We just started this company. Gave me 2 flavors. At the time, they only had 2 flavors, and I left, and I saw her like the next week and said, those bars are pretty amazing, Shannon, because at that time, as you know, protein bars are not that great, but they mastered the test and the taste and the texture. So I saw her, time just kind of flew by, and I saw her a couple weeks later. I said, hey, one of my celebrity friends is hosting a golf tournament at Riviera. If you have some extra product, I'll get it in the bags of all the players. She said, oh my God, that'd be amazing. So I remember not even that many, maybe 50 bars. My friend was doing the publicity, and I said, listen, I don't know what we could do with these. I got one better. I got a couple people that have video cameras. And it was before social media. Facebook just started, so people were doing blogs and all that.
Yep.
Got in a bunch of people's hands. Mario Lopez was there, Jessica Simpson, some different actors. And they just tried it, and I got people to try it on camera. Now, keep in mind, I knew nothing about marketing or PR. I just figured if I can get in people's hands. So I got this content together, sent it to them, and they're like, holy shit, like, how do you know these people? I said, well, that's my day job. I take care of people. And it just evolved. I just started helping build relationships. And after it was actually 9 months, I'd visit them in the office. Their office was down in Paramount, which was in the ghetto. And when I first visited their office, I was like, they're not going to be in business in 6 months. It was in this little shitty industrial strip mall. There was nothing promising about it. But they were grit. They were making these bars by hand. And honestly, over a course of about 9 months, it kind of became my why. Even though I loved doing the bodyguard business, they were changing people's lives. People writing, blogs saying, oh my God, I lost 25 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And it really became a movement. And after about 9 months, they said, hey, we want to put you on the payroll. We're stealing from you. And I was like, no, I don't want your money. I don't need your money. They said, listen, we're going to start paying you. You could give it to charity, but we want to start paying you. And then I really felt obligated to help them. Once I started getting paid, I was like, oh, shit.
Now the pressure's on, right?
Yeah.
That's
and
funny.
I mean, I continue talking about it, but it just evolved. And there was no structure. There was no plan. I mean, one guy was in charge of R&D. One was in charge of sales and marketing. And they said, hey, we need help everywhere. I just started carving out relationships. And I still was doing the bodyguard business. So, Extra, Mario, was still a client. So I brought it on a set of Extra. I remember one day Mario was giving out to the crowd.
Wow.
Just like organically.
Yeah.
But I would always grab that stuff and show them, and they'd be like, oh my God, like they were so perplexed how I knew people, which that was my living, right? I went from that to being the chief communications officer. But I built out the events department, the ambassador program, worked with you when we were doing commercials.
Yeah.
Anything that needed, and I always tell people this, I just brought value.
Right.
because there was a whole, like I would overhear them say, oh, we need to get some furniture for the office. I'd go out on the weekend and just buy it, put it on my credit card, it'd show up. I just did whatever it took. And I always tell people, listen, there's opportunities like that. So I just did whatever it took to build the company.
That's amazing. And it became one of the most successful companies in the world, really.
Yeah.
My understanding is that, Shannon, right, started making them in her kitchen, in her single oven, and then it turned into a...
Is that how it started?
She was making them by hand in her kitchen. It was strictly for the girl. She was doing boot camps on weekends, a group of girls doing, workouts.
Yeah.
She'd bring the bars and she started selling them. And her husband, Ron, had the business acumen. He was actually in the tech space, but he goes, there might be something here. We need to figure out how we commercialize this. And they actually messed around for about a year. They couldn't get the formula right. There's a thing in food called water activation where things mold and rot.
Right.
You can't have water in it. So he hired a food scientist, worked through all the kinks, went to his partners who had a tech business and said, hey guys, I really want to make these bars. They got up and walked out of the room. They said, we're not in the protein bar business, Ron. We're in tech. Let's go back to tech and make money. So he did it all behind the scenes, got to the point where he had a website set up and had the bars made and said, listen, let's just give it a shot. He said, all right, Ron, we'll humor you. We'll give it a shot. They popped it up on a website and started selling them. Yeah.
Amazing.
And she made the first 14 flavors.
Wow.
In her kitchen. She would obviously make them, and then we'd take them to the office and have a kitchen and make them a little, scale them, but she made them all.
Yeah. I remember I forgot where those offices were, but it was huge. And walking through all of the stuff and seeing product that they were testing, trying, stuff that never made it to, grocery store, any of the stores or anything to the public. But like, I think they had like ice cream. And then I tried on this VR headset when VR wasn't even like a thing yet. And they were seeing you can, do all this marketing within VR. And I was in space, like looking around, and there's like Quest up in the corner, But there was always, it seemed like Quest was consistently innovating.
What was interesting about our R&D department, most companies have scientists and people with PhDs. There's no one at Quest that had a degree in anything. They were just kids that were like foodies. And they just figured it out. But truly, no scientists.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because it honestly was what you said, where there was nothing on the market that was like that. Everything else tastes like chalk or was gross or like it. And you have a Quest bar, you're like, this is amazing.
Yeah, and when you joined us, we had it was interesting because you talk about there was things that we would like. We'd make ice cream, we'd make peanut butter, and I'd be like, "Oh, let's take some test amazing. Let's take it to market." Now we would shelve it.
Yeah,
we would probably shelve more things than we would put to market.
Wow.
Why is that? Just bandwidth?
Down to the finite where I never consider myself. I'm not a super foodie, but sometimes you taste something, and if you really you could taste the sweetener and stuff. So we would just shelve things because it wasn't perfect. Move on to the next.
Yeah, or some things didn't have a shelf life that were long enough to even last. So.
And bars were really our expertise. So we ended up having, I think, 22 flavors of bars, and then we rolled out the cookies. But everything was a process, and it's so finite to get it done. A reason why. And there's things that we just shelve and never revisit.
I can tell you
don't want to spread too thin.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm smart.
Yeah, I mean the bars were great, the cookies were great, the chips are great, the pizza was great. Like everything that came through Quest was just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I knew everybody, I would get these little boxes shipped like once a month or something like that. And people come over and just try to steal them all the time.
Right.
And I'm like,
dude, I would steal them.
Yeah.
But my job was great because it's interesting. Most of the people that come in were introverts. And I'm somewhat of an introvert, but I became an extrovert because they'd say, hey, GNC has this charity golf tournament. I say, I'll go. I flew to Pittsburgh. Vitamin Shop has a charity bike ride. I'll go.
That's amazing.
CrossFit event. So I was literally, I did some math the other day. For about 6 years straight, I was on the road 40 weekends a year.
Ooh.
I would leave the office either on a Thursday night or a Friday morning, fly to the CrossFit games, fly to a WWE event, fly to a bodybuilding show, and I would be back in the office Monday morning. And that was my reputation. And they would even say, wait, we just saw you on Instagram in Massachusetts Sunday night. And I'd be back Monday morning. But that's kind of the reputation I built. And that's where I think I earned the sweat equity I had.
Right.
Because no one, I always tell us it's not hard to be the top 10% in anything. You just have to do just a little more than the next person.
There's a lot to be said about it's not even like guerrilla marketing. It's just like getting out there and getting it done.
Yeah.
Right. Like I love hearing that. Like even the sofa thing or the furniture thing in the office, it's like so many people would like, well, should we order it? Should we plan it? You're like, no, I'm going to get furniture right now.
They wanted to build a little studio like this. We had an idea. We had this warehouse, and I swear to God, before holiday break, they said we really should do something here. So over the holiday, which we were closed from whatever Christmas Eve till it was like a 12-day
New Year's,
spit. Yeah. And I went to IKEA, bought the furniture, bought the blue carpet, had someone paint it. And they literally came back. I was out traveling when they came back, and they walked through and said, Bruce must have been here over the holidays. They didn't even say like who did this. And we built it. It was like this, like a lounge where people, when we had VIPs like you, we could come hang out.
Yeah.
But that was my mindset. And it wasn't, and I had no end game. I wasn't thinking we're going to be rich, because at that time we weren't. We were just getting by.
Startup life, right? Like you just, and dude, I was in a production meeting a couple months ago before the strike and putting together this, like a writer's room and stuff like that. And one of my partners is like, so Will really likes things to move fast. He's going to be very on top of this. And he like keeps saying like stuff. I'm like, dude, he's making me out to be like an asshole, right? Like I'm going to be this like mean person to work with and like expect everything done immediately. And I'm just sitting there like, dude, it's all good. Like we're a team. We'll get it done. But I'm like, it was kind of funny because it was just like, like get things done. Right? Like,
that's it.
Let's get it done.
Yeah, too many people, well, what do we got to do? Let's talk about it. Let's have a reiteration meeting. And just sometimes you get shit done. You know?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I'll go to the event. I'll fly to Boston.
Yeah, and that's what I did.
That's one of my favorite pieces of advice I got from a friend out here is he's an actor, AJ Buckley.
I love him.
He's great. Yeah, he's the man. We're going to do something together eventually. But he said, you just have to show up. You got to show up. You know, you got to put in the work. You got to show up. And it was like another friend of mine said, you know, I did my first press tour. I don't know, it was for the first movie I ever did with Tyler Perry. And dude, within like 5 days, I did like 300 interviews or something in California and LA, then New York, then Atlanta, and there's like a few other places in between that, but it was just nonstop, no sleep, all go. You got to be on the whole time. So by the time I got to the last one, it was like Good Day Atlanta. Thankfully, it was live, but thankfully I had the actresses with me, the other two lead actresses, and I couldn't form words. I was so tired, man. And so I go to Tyler after, and I'm like, dude, what do you do like when you're just you're so tired, you're burnt out, you know, you've been going nonstop, you're like and I was expecting him to tell me, you got to get this, you got to sleep, you know, do this to get better sleep, you got to, you know, eat this, you know, you got to do this workout, like whatever. He was going to give me some advice, right? He's like, you just do it.
Right, yeah. Like the commercial says, just do it.
Exactly. I was like, now it makes sense why Nike was so successful.
Right.
But it's that mindset now of like, no matter what, now I can just turn it on all the time. I'm like, you just do it, just get it done. You know what I mean? And it makes a huge difference in your life and your career and everything.
It was really a high for me. It became like, that was my adrenaline. Yeah. Like, you know, everyone's got addictions, right? Once we had some success, I was like, this is amazing. Like, and I could keep bringing value. And the cool thing was I would just talk to myself about it. No one wants to do what I'm doing, even though they would say, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm a little jealous. You know, you went here. I go, well, next weekend, join me.
Right.
Well, and then you'd have, my boyfriend, my girlfriend.
Yeah.
It's Saturday. I got to do this.
That's why, you know.
And I sacrificed. Listen, it cost me a couple relationships, but I also had a great girlfriend who would travel with me. But not everyone wants to make that commitment to build a business.
No.
Yeah. And that's what it takes. There has to be sacrifice.
Yeah.
No matter what it is.
Would that be like one of the biggest points of advice you would give to like someone out there doing a startup or?
100%. Especially as you're younger. I mean, put the time in, bust your ass. If it's 10 years, it's 10 years. I mean, right now we live in this world of instant gratification, by the way.
Yep.
Where someone thinks, hey, I want to invest in Bitcoin to become a millionaire over here, whatever it is. It takes time. I mean, Quest was a 9-year run. That's a pretty short run to be $1 billion company, but it was full-time all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so before that, so you said you had private security, right? And part of limousine, the biggest limousine company in LA. How did you get into that? And what did that look like for you? Because I've seen pictures of you with some pretty successful.
So my throwbacks are pretty famous.
Yeah.
I used to have the Tom Selleck mustache.
Dude,
awesome.
like my father.
Yeah. So really, I mean, not to unwind a little bit, but I'll go back to New Jersey because I was this dumb middle class kid. As I say, even my coach says, "Don't say you dumb. Say you didn't apply yourself at school." But I really was. I was like a CD average student, but I knew I wanted to be a cop. It was like a boyhood dream. My uncle was a cop. My neighbor was a cop. And when I graduated high school, I thought, okay, I didn't really have a path to get there. And our local police department was like 6 people, and I knew the chief. And
oh wow, that's small.
No, I grew up in a 2,000 person town in New Jersey, like a little steel mill town.
Wow.
And I said, hey, I messed around, did a part-time job. And I said, I really want to join the police department. He said, listen, Bruce, you're young, you're immature, in his own kind way, right? He's a grown man. But he said, but if you go in the Marine Corps, I'll hire you when you get out. That's it? grabbed my best friend Jim and said, hey, we're going to go in the Marine Corps together. Went down to the recruit depot. I thought New Jersey was the world. You know how when you grow up someplace, there's no place else. So first time on an airplane, went to Paris Island. That really, I grew up, right? I mean, became a man. And then I realized, okay, there's a big world out here. So I traveled the world. I was on a security detail for the commandant. I ended up getting out.
Or after the Marines?
No, while I was in the Marine Corps.
Well, sorry, okay.
It's funny. I used to always think things happen for luck. Oh, you're lucky, you get luck. But as things progressed in my life, I realized, well, I think I'm committed to what I do because sometimes, luck may have some of it. But like my boss in the Marine Corps said, there's something about you, Cardenas. I like you. He goes, I'm recommending you for this job. And I didn't think the guy liked me, I ended up being on a security detail for the general, which caused me to travel the world and had a lot of experience. I went to school, work with the State Department to learn how to do personal protection. So when I got out of the Marine Corps, I landed at Camp Pendleton.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a career day on base. And, these computer companies and trucking companies and the CHP was there. And I was like, holy shit. At the time, let's say they started at like $55,000. Beautiful weather, beautiful people. I'm like, shit, I'm staying in California. So I just started processing. LAPD picked me up first, and I joined the LAPD.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What's processing?
Application process. So, to get through the process. So background, physical.
Does that take about a year?
It took about a year.
Yeah.
And if you have any, I had surgery on my knee when I was a kid, so you got to get the medical records from back east. And it's not like now where you just email them. You have to
go get them.
Mail them.
Yeah.
So I got through. So to lead up to the security, while I was a cop, I wanted to make extra money. And one of my friends was a retired sergeant from Beverly Hills. I started working for him, doing protection. And after about a year of doing that, I was like, I really enjoy, I'm a service-oriented person. That's one of my languages. I love serving people. I've always, even at Quest, and now I like serving people. And I figured out, well, I could start my own business. I did my homework, got my license and insurance, and the guy was kind enough. I had one client at the time. He's a chairman. He still owns Revlon. He's been a client for 30 years. He was my first client, and I figured out it's all about what people need. And I'm really good at reading people, social cues, which a lot of people lack.
Yeah.
So security is one of those unique things. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And I just started picking up clients, and that was a big success. And then in my big home run in security. So I was doing the security, but it blew up to the point where I couldn't be a cop anymore. I was doing pretty well. A few $1 million a year in business, but I just couldn't manage it. So I left being a cop full-time. I'm still a reserve with the sheriffs, but the bodyguard thing took over. And then I picked up a client, I don't know if you remember Tommy Mottola, who ran Sony Music.
Yeah.
Once I had him and his wife, Mariah, it was like a Rolodex. I would just call it an artist and say, hey, I'm working with Tommy. And they'd be like, oh, what do you need?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I'm picking up Ricky Martin, Mark Anthony, J-Lo, System of a Down. I just had all these bands and I was on the road all the time. So that kind of just snowballed. So that's what led into the big executive protection business.
Amazing.
I mean, we almost just breezed over it, but that's so cool.
Yeah, it is. And that's where a lot of those throwback photos, I didn't even have a camera phone then, but I'd be at an event and someone catch us in the background. So I have a lot of photos from back in the day, but it just evolved. And my friend owned a limousine company called CLS Transportation.
Oh, yeah.
Charlie Horkey.
Dude, yeah, CLS. Now you say the biggest limo company. I'm like, of course.
So Charlie creates another sidewind a little bit. I'm doing a premiere in uniform in Hollywood. I was working Hollywood, but it was like an after hours thing for a movie premiere. And this guy pulls up in this black Porsche right where the limos are dropping off and gets out and throws the keys to one of his guys. I go, hey, man, you can't park your Porsche here. Kind of an arrogant dude. He goes, no, it's all good, man. I'm in charge of the cars. It was Charlie. So we ended up hitting it off then. And we've been friends now forever. And but a lot of my security business came from him. And I always had an office in his. So I became an executive at his company while I had the security business. So I was always hustling.
I mean, yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's a perfect crossover too, because everyone who's anyone is taking those limos, right?
Yeah. So that was kind of like a gateway. Once, it's interesting. And he would call me and say, hey, Courtney Love was a client for about a decade. He would just say, I told her you got to use you, and it just evolved.
Yeah, Discoveryland was like a huge client of CLS for sure.
Yeah.
Obviously, before the Uber days, right? Of
for sure.
If you had to get somewhere and you needed a safe, awesome.
Yeah, his big. He hit it big when he did the Thriller tour with Michael Jackson. And literally he tells me I had 3 cars on standby 24 hours a day for 3 months straight.
Oh my god!
So that put him on the map.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And Quincy Jones said, "Yeah, just keep it going, keep it." And then all of a sudden he became the guy.
That's awesome.
Right.
That's what it takes. You got to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's so cool.
Michael Jackson tour. That would have been so sick.
Right.
Do you have any fun or crazy stories that you could share?
There's
from
some,
any of those times?
yeah, there's some, I mean, there's always stalkers. It's interesting. I mean, the sad part about being a celebrity, right? There's always people that live vicariously and think I've had stalkers show up, people with suitcases coming to people's houses thinking that they took a bus from another place. Like, Kim Kardashian we had a guy show up from Alabama with his luggage.
Really?
What, you
Hey,
thought he was going to move in or something?
Yeah, no, literally. And you got to intervene and get the police involved and get restraining orders and call his parents and get him back on the bus. But there's people out there like that.
Yeah.
So, or overzealous fans. One thing I got really good at is getting people in and out of situations and avoiding any conflict.
That's amazing.
Back doors, side doors. I mean, shit, we used to take Mariah Carey to Disneyland all the time, but you have the VIP access and
That's awesome.
sunglasses and hats. And
Yeah.
Right.
And
as you go by people, wait, that looks like,
yeah.
is that Brock or no? It's not. No. It's Triple H. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly, right?
See, it's hard for Brock to hide.
Because
when
they
we're at
think he's
festivals.
somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Or that, like whatever it is. That's why I wanted to go in this industry anyways. It's like I got spotted doing nothing anyways. I was like,
Right.
I might as well make some money at it.
Most people probably don't recognize you at Brock. They think, well, wait, that's that guy, right?
It's a mix of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the next Thor.
Yeah. I'll
take
it.
that.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is it's Brock and other famous people.
Right.
So it's like multiple, right?
Or
It's
that-
like not just Brock and not just celebs.
Yeah.
It's like the combination of all of it.
That just happened. Last week I was getting coffee at Alfred's in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
Just killing time before I had my meeting in like 30 minutes. And there's these two women walking with their family. And they went to the crosswalk and they kept like double looking at me or whatever. And I'm just sitting on my phone, like literally drinking coffee, but I clocked it. And then 10 seconds later, they walk over and they're like, they're all nervous. They're like shaking, like, are you Chris Hemsworth? And I'm like, no, I wish. But
That's pretty good,
It's
though.
not me.
I can see that.
But then, 5 minutes later, some other people did actually recognize me as me. But it's just, it's one of those things, it's like, it's always, I think it is a compliment, if anything,
Yeah.
what can you do?
So I just have a reputation, I think, in security is taking care of people. I'm not the biggest guy. I'm not the 300-pound guy at the door, but I always knew how to get people in and out of problems and I was always a thinker, a logistics thinker.
Yeah.
That's.
But you're also built like a linebacker.
Yeah,
too.
but
like
I'm saying
you can't move you.
But I'm saying is a lot of people, I would just process things in advance plan and make sure there's no reason we're going to have any hassles,
Is a lot of that from the Army training?
I think so,
Is
yeah.
that,
Yeah, because everything's logistics and, it's not just about being a meathead standing at the door because
No.
Of course not.
Well, that was my thing growing up is I was so big, so quick, and then I fell in love with working out. So by the time I was 21, I was like 276 pounds of pure muscle, and I got a baby face still, basically. But so everybody would try and start crap with me and pick like random stuff walking down the street at bars, if like just whatever was happening. And so I had to, like, what do you think I want to fight people? Like, no, one, I'm either going to destroy you or two, like it's not going to end well for either one of us. And I just don't want that. So I had to do exactly what you're saying is figure out how to talk people down off a ledge and like, or to mitigate the situation so that there wasn't conflict because I don't want to sit there and fight somebody, dude. It's the dumbest thing. I don't know if they're going to pull out a knife or something and do something insane.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. It's never worth it.
Yeah, even when I switched gears a little, but even when I was a cop, and I was a pretty big guy, I would find it's a lot easier to talk to people than have a physical altercation. Even if someone's pissed off at you, and sometimes you show up on some pretty crazy calls, domestic violence, people are out of their minds. Sometimes it gets physical, but I always be like, dude, come on, you're not gonna. I don't want to mess up my uniform, I'd come up with, and I'd make humor and stuff, but it just was easier, and I learned how to be. My people skills really turned on when I was a cop, especially you'd be down in the South End and these big dudes just out of prison, talking a little bit of shit, and be like, come on, man, come on, you want to have a bench press contest, or we want to, like, I would just divert the conversation because at the end of the day, there's always someone bigger, stronger, faster, right?
Yeah. And anything could happen too. That was one of the first lessons I learned in jiu-jitsu. I was 15 and I was grappling with this dude. I was rolling with this guy who was 30. He was half my size.
Yeah.
But he tapped me out and he got me a rear naked choke in 30 seconds. And I'm like, he was probably 5 foot.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm never going to underestimate somebody for the rest of my life. And you learn that too. But it's also but it's also one of those things like, you don't know what these guys are going through, or what screws loose or what's going to happen. It's just it's never worth it. It's never worth it. Yeah. So
I just learned it was better to be kind to people and figure out how to work with them.
I was definitely never a fighter. Yeah. I like sports was like a good outlet, like in the gym and playing sports, so, playing football and lacrosse, they're like very good outlets to like get out any of that like teenage angst. But then,
Yeah.
I love hearing that though, because it should be de-escalation, right? Like
Always. And, listen, I could talk about police work forever because there's a lot of cops that do give police a bad name, right? Because they escalate it too quick instead of really thinking through the whole process. And I think people have egos and they contempt a cop, I call it, because someone talks shit to you. Who cares?
right.
I mean, I let that go pretty quickly because my first training officer was a pretty rough guy. And I saw how he conducted himself. And I remember one time I said, I'm going to go down either his path or my path. I had to really figure out, and I'm more about the spirit of the law instead of the letter of the law. And in the academy, all they teach you is black and white, right? You can just know the law or the rules. And I said, no, the world's really gray. And there's a lot of people I gave breaks to that, like I say, sometimes people are a paycheck away from a crisis, right? And they do dumb shit. There's different categories. I say sometimes, there's really bad people, right, that do bad things to human beings. Okay, that's a different category. But then there's people that just fall on bad times.
Yeah.
They steal something because they can't, afford it, or that's just life, I don't think they should be punished for that.
Yeah, everybody's going through something, right?
Yeah, even the drug laws. I mean, I remember back in the day, you'd stop someone for a small amount of weed, and God, you can get 10 years for that. And I'd be like, I don't want to F someone's life up for that. I'd be like,
Yeah, which is a very kind thing to do. Because in retrospect, like, especially looking at what the laws are now, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I became a little bit of libertarian, believe it or not. I mean, even though, there's bad people in the world, right? And they have to be dealt with in a different way. But there's so many people that just, who cares if someone's, whatever they do,
But yeah, if it's not hurting anybody.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I look at it,
Yeah.
Because you could destroy someone's life over nonsense.
Yeah.
So.
I'm still upset about this, stop sign ticket I got the other day.
Oh God.
You couldn't talk your way out of it?
He didn't even give me a chance.
Oh, he just said, give me your license registration?
Yeah. I stopped. But I stopped a little bit over the line, and there's nobody around except for him, obviously hiding in the corner. And he pulls me over, and I'm like, I'm literally driving my buddy Spencer to get gas because his car ran out. And I'm like, no good deed.
You couldn't even finish your sentence.
He didn't let me, man. He literally took my license and registration.
Motor cop?
No.
Really?
It was in Beverly Hills too. I'm like, what is this? What's going on here? Like, there's nothing else to do right now. But
I always like those. I always like those people that say, you have nothing else to do. No, we're going after the murders after I write your ticket.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man, that's.
It was just funny because I'm like, dude, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I don't break any.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this sucks.
There
it's
again,
one of those things.
That's the spirit of the law. I mean, listen, things happen, right? Now, if you went through the stop sign at 50 miles an hour, then you could possibly run over a kid. But
yeah.
I think California rollers are a common thing.
I was like, what are you writing 19,000 of these a day right now? Like, what's going on?
But that's the thing too. Like you just mentioned, like you could literally be going off to like a murder scene or something, right? And it's like that's why I just have like a tremendous amount of respect for police and the work they do. And like you said, it's any industry in the world is going to have good and bad people in it. Like every industry.
I always say that there's 10%. I just use that average in every career, right?
Yeah.
Doctors, lawyers, gynecologists. Look what happens with some of these crazy doctors.
Some terrible doctors
but,
out there.
Unfortunately, police are magnified because you're in the public eye and something bad happens. And,
Yeah.
I never play armchair quarterback. I'm not there. I didn't know what happened.
Yeah.
I'm not in the alley at 3:00 in the morning, but you're definitely magnified when you're a cop on the street.
Well, you're also magnifying your like your position in the sense of like you're constantly in harm's way and you're constantly a target.
Constantly.
So it's like you're the one who's responding to the crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
You don't know if a gun's going to get put in your face. It's high stress. There's long hours. There's just, you've seen.
I say it best to my
tough.
friends when it comes up at a dinner table, right? And we hire from the human race. So everyone has their own emotions and feelings, and no matter what training you have. But I asked my friends, I said, would you go down that alley? Hell no.
Right.
But you expect the cop to go down the alley and find out who's there and what the bad guy's doing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And then you make one mistake.
Adrenaline and
There's so many factors.
Yeah.
And there's different. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a tricky, tough, conversation to have. But at the same time, like I have a major respect for officers and yes, there's been a lot that have made a lot of wrong decisions, but there's also a lot of people in the world in America making a lot of bad decisions that are putting people in harm's way.
Yeah.
Man. So
that's for damn sure.
It's tough, Yeah. But appreciate all the services.
Yeah.
Man.
Thank you.
Gotta say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for your service and for multiple services, right? For the LAPD and the Marines.
Yeah.
We went to, you took me to WWE wrestling match once. Yeah. And I had so much fun with going there with you, man. And do you go to those events pretty often? Or?
Pretty, not as much. I mean, it kind of, now it's like not as, but
You get used to it, yeah.
yeah, but I like going when they're in LA. If you guys ever want to go, by the way, again, yeah. 'Cause they
Oh,
always
for
hook us
sure.
up
Dude, I'm
front row.
Yeah. Dude, I'd love to, man. Yeah.
Dude, fucking hey.
Yeah, it's great entertainment.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Oh, it's
I don't
super
remember when
entertaining.
we went. Did we go in the green room too, or did we just?
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who was it? It was,
We were with, what's his name? Who were we with?
was it Bo?
Yeah.
Bo Smart?
Yeah. He was with us. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I remember I saw Ice, what's his name? Ice Cube's son.
Yeah.
And he had the
O'Shea Jackson?
Shay Jackson. Yeah.
Right?
He's there all the
Or
time. He's a big
Junior.
fan.
O'Shea Jr.
Yeah. Junior.
Yeah, he was walking around with the belt on his shoulder.
Yeah.
That was a big
Rick
match.
Rubin's a regular. He's music
Yep.
executive. There's a group of regulars. I'm like, he's a WWE fan. Yeah.
That's funny. We were just talking about Rick Rubin.
He's a
That
legend.
is, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So see what I'm seeing.
You need to
Yeah.
have
what I'm saying.
He needs to be on the show.
That
If
would
he
be
would do it, he's a
incredible,
legend.
dude. Oh,
we
of
would love
course.
that one.
He's-
So the musician we just had on, Maddie Noyes, she mentioned Rick Rubin as one of two people that in the world that she wants to collaborate
Oh,
with, and
wow.
she's incredibly talented as well.
He's worked with some serious players.
Yeah, and she's extremely talented. You know, she's done some really big hits as well. But it's one of those things. Maybe it connects at some point. But we would love to have him on. We'd love to host him if it ever.
I'll
came
find
about.
out.
He's such a he would be on a lot of musicians like
Top list,
Yeah,
100%,
yeah.
dude. Yeah,
I think he's done stuff with everybody. That's a name.
yeah,
for sure.
incredible. But yeah, man, WWE is a lot of fun. And then since then, I played a WWE character. I played a Hulk Hogan.
That's cool.
Mr. America.
Yeah, dude, I had his whole playlist that he would come out to all the different songs. I am a real man.
Yeah, exactly. I fucking love it.
Like, dude, so I would
Was
just
it
live
good?
on
Was it
re-
fun?
It was so much fun, dude. Yeah, but the best part about it, honestly, for me was I got to study wrestling from the beginning, and I got to deep dive these people's lives. You know, Terry Boella, The Rock, even when he was young, his whole history. That's what that whole entire show was about, right? Young Rock.
Yeah.
But I have a different level of respect and a different viewpoint on wrestling than I've ever had because I didn't grow up with it as much as I wish I did. But now that I'm like, dude, I'm like a super fan now. Like it's so much, it's so cool. And like the level of dedication to the craft that these people put in is just
it's
second to
serious. The
none.
training
Yeah.
and everything. It's
Yeah.
legit. I mean, as far as the
Yeah.
dedication, hard training,
Yeah, and it is brutal. It's not a joke. You know, like looking at
you get
some-
hurt.
Yeah, like the amount of like torn biceps
Yeah.
and pecs and like doing the crazy things that have happened. Like, was it Hulk has like he had like 8 back surgeries and now his like spines fused at the bottom.
Well, look,
and
he
the-
did those flying flips off the turnbuckle.
Yeah, it's extremely athletic dudes, man. But a lot of respect for that. And
Dude, there's a reason why it's so big and watched by so many people, right? Like it's pure entertainment. It is amazing.
It is. It's a traveling show too. The WWE
Yeah.
will set up massive arenas and then break down in another city. It's crazy how they
Yeah.
operate.
they're on the road like
Yeah.
51 out of
Yep.
52 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Showman.
Yeah. So you went from Marines,
Yep.
officer, private security, and then a bunch of other stuff in that realm, and then Quest, and then what's going on now?
So what's going on now? So I'm still a reserve. I went from, I still enjoy serving. So I'm a reserve with the county sheriffs, not LAPD, but the sheriff. So,
What does reserve mean?
you're obligated to probably put 20 hours a month in between a meeting, shooting, and, I'll work maybe 1 or 2 shifts.
Okay.
Occasionally in the field, but what's kind of cool, I belong to a unit, going back to the executive protection, the sheriffs had a unit where every time a government official came in town, we would work with them, support the Secret Service.
Oh, that's cool.
So,
wow.
it was actually kind of cool because I didn't know this. I mean, when I thought, okay, the Secret Service has all buttoned up, but when the president would come in town or the Speaker of the House, they would use us because we're locals, right? So
the local knowledge.
where you're going.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. I worked with the last couple presidents and Speaker of the House, and we'd be in the Suburbans, and so
No way.
it was kind of fun. Yeah, like
Dude.
let me tell you.
I've seen you on the freeway when you guys stop all the traffic and you go around.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's still kind of cool to experience that. And
Hell yeah.
I've gone back to the White House now 4 times from that.
Wow.
Just as a
Really?
guest, yeah.
That's amazing.
Dude.
Well, what's kind of cool is when
What's it like? What's the White House
isn't that
like?
kind of crazy? So there's a thing called Police Week in May, and big celebration of, and it's really a memorial. But when Mariah Carey performed 2 years in a row there on the Capitol lawn, and then after that we went to the White House, and Bill Clinton was the president then.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. So,
Mariah's great too, man. She's a really great human, and just what a talent.
Great artist.
Yeah, yeah.
We spent a lot of time together. Yeah,
did?
she liked doing the Tower of Terror.
really?
Ride.
Oh, that's awesome.
In Disney World.
Yeah,
like
when
Tower of Terror.
when I do that one, I make the same note that she does.
I remember I tried to figure out
funny.
how, because I had to be with her, right? But we had to escort, and you go through the
Yeah.
back door. And I'm thinking, well, I don't really want to. I don't care about. I'm not afraid of the ride, but I'm like, I don't really need to go on the ride. She goes, no, get on the ride. You have to be on the ride. So I'd sit behind her. But what I didn't know is, when you do it, everyone puts their hands up.
Yeah.
So I didn't put my hands up, and they print the picture out, and she goes, Bruce, you effed up the whole ride. We got to do it again, because here I am like this. Yeah.
That's so funny.
So I'd be like, anyway.
I love
great.
roller coasters, dude. I love them.
That's awesome.
I could go over and over again.
But yeah, so with the going back, so we did a lot of details with the government. Ended up at the White House a couple times, so it's
so
kind of
cool.
cool. It really is interesting when because
what's it like?
being a dumb kid from New Jersey, I'm like, wait, I'm in the Oval Office, down the back of the corner.
Is there
See,
like a
guys.
certain feeling you get when you're there?
Of course,
Yeah.
it's almost like
Augusta, right?
Yeah.
Like,
You're just like, wow, yeah, exactly. Like, wow, I don't belong here, right? Because you always feel like that, right? Are they going to figure this out? But it's interesting because I remember, hey, they want your driver's license number, your social security number. I'm like, okay. But I must have cleared because I got there.
right, of course.
But I remember one of the guys, not nothing to do with me, but one of the publicists, this is in one of the circles, he wasn't allowed to go. They never told us why.
Oh,
but,
no.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you never know.
A publicist with some bad
With
PR,
some
it
kind of
sounds
bad,
like. Yeah, that's great, dude. Man.
So it's opened up a lot of doors. I mean, between the police relationships and the security business, my life is relationships.
Yeah.
That's my go-to.
What would be some other companies that you would like ideally want to be in? I know you are involved with some, so I definitely want to talk about those, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, what are some other entrepreneurial things that you'd want to get into?
I like, what's interesting? When I started with Quest, I always say this, I was the least qualified person to be in the food and beverage space. I'm not a food scientist. I don't know anything about it. But what I figured out is it's the relationships behind building the brand that are important. So now I'm helping some brands. I like the early phases because that's the exciting part. When you're just starting, I'm not as excited once you're at X amount because then it kind of becomes a machine. And But when it's new, that's when you're putting in the long hours, trying to figure out, hey, how are we going to sell this thing? No one knows about it. That's the exciting part for me.
More creative input.
Creative input.
A lot of growth.
How can we get this in people's hands? What do we got to do? And I always tell people, it's interesting. I help with a couple brands now, and one of the successes we had at Quest and Kind Bar, very few brands stick to this. If you have a consumable item, a drink or a food or a snack or a chip, you've got to get product in people's hands. That's as simple as it. I'm going to give you two items. I'm going to give one for you, and I'm going to say, if you want to share with one of your friends, you see Brock tonight, give him one. People they overthink the marketing play. You have something people have to eat. Don't start thinking, well, let me get out behind my computer and figure out what kind of KPIs I'm getting by giving that bar. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And by the way, honestly, and we don't really talk about it much, but Quest got off. We lost our way. So we got up to a point, believe it or not, to about 300 million. And you have a combination between a marketing director and another partner, and they said, well, like you said, the virtual reality.
Yeah.
And then they want to do an inside television show. And that's all great, but it really took away from our main mission, which was getting product in people's hands.
Yeah.
And one of the brands that never wavers from that is Kind Bar. Not that you guys know anything about it, but you'll see Kind Bar is always giving out samples. You'll see kids at Santa Monica Pier, 3rd Street Promenade. That's their marketing. They don't make fancy, they don't try and do a house at Coachella and spend $100,000. No, I'm not saying, by the way, I'm not saying that's bad or good, but they're constantly just, here's product, try it. And that's where we kind of lost our way a little bit at Quest.
Sounds like they're not trying to be anything other than what they are.
Yeah. Like, for instance, we started an apparel company at Quest. I'm not talking about like nice quality stuff, have little logos, like cool shit, not big. And $6 million later, we closed. And we figured out we were good at protein bars. We don't really, what do we know about apparel?
Right.
We had a cool video and we had some athletes jumping walls and all the cool shit you want to see, but no one bought our apparel. And we quickly figured out, let's just stick with what we know. And I always tell people, once you start trying to, and by the way, it doesn't mean for every brand, but just stick with what you know.
Yeah.
Don't think, okay, well, I can make a protein bar. Well, shit, I might as well make a rocket ship too. But it happens, right?
Totally. No, and I think like...
And sometimes it works, right?
No.
Yeah, you got to like at least test the waters and experiment.
Sure.
But, you know, again, $6 million, like
$6 million
it's a lot of
later,
money.
we were, and plus all the clothing and we
Listen.
threw away. And,
Yeah.
You guys would have sold for $1.6 billion in cash. It's all,
Right,
I think
right.
it's okay.
Yeah.
It worked out all right.
Yeah.
No, but
That was a rounding error, as the accountant would
Exactly,
say.
a little rounding error.
no, but I mean the fact that you guys went out there and implemented that stuff too. Like, yeah, maybe it was a little, you know, put you off a little bit in different areas, but dude. You guys
Oh no! Don't get me
tried.
wrong.
You guys tried, right? And that's
we had great success in those areas, but we got a little crazy at times.
yeah,
You know?
interesting.
We
Yeah.
did a music video around the launch of our Blueberry Bar,
Oh, really?
and it was a whole thing. We brought it like
Was it fun?
it was fun at the time, but when you look back and we spent all this money on that, it was like $800,000 investment
Wow.
Yeah.
to launch one flavor.
Right.
It was fun.
Yeah.
We had like some Katy Perry's choreographer or someone. We had some big names involved, not them, but like their people. And,
Yeah.
But yeah, you're like, okay, great. Now we got a music video. Still, you can probably find it on YouTube.
That's
Dude, we got to check it out.
Yeah.
We'll make a clip with it for sure. Yeah.
That's so funny. Where was I? I was somewhere, and I think it was the current CEO when I was working there, and he's like, man, I feel like I already know you. It was like the fourth shoot that we were doing that I'd done with Quest at this point. And he's like, every time I walk through the office, I see your face over here, over there, over there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, dude, I love working with you guys. So
It was definitely
Keep
a
it
fun
coming.
place to work. I always talk
Yeah.
about culture.
yeah,
Culture is not something, it's hard to sometimes, it's not a tangible thing sometimes.
yeah,
I've only been a couple companies where the culture really is cool. And
Yeah.
that's one of them. Reebok's another one.
Oh, really?
First Form's
Oh, wow.
another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reebok, when you go to their headquarters, you just feel it because from the receptionist, how they talk to you to, you know, it's just the vibe you get. Because
Yeah.
sometimes it's funny, I give some advice to CEOs or they'll call me for advice and, well, you know, I built out this rec room, Bruce. We got a ping pong table and we got a lounge for the employees. I said, you know, but that doesn't build culture. Like,
Yeah.
if they don't like you, they're not even going to want to use your ping pong table.
And dude, it's interesting you say that too, because like, you know, being on like the Netflix campus and they design it like a college campus, but it's like, you don't see, you know, the executives interacting with the lower level employees. So it's not like a college. So it's almost like they're going for something. By the way, I love Netflix. This
Yeah.
isn't even, I'm not like,
I'm sure they have a badass campus too.
it's badass. It's all this. I just like, it almost felt like they were going for one thing, but didn't necessarily. And who cares what their office is like? Technically, they're making product.
Yeah.
Their product is shows and TV. So it doesn't matter end of the day. But, you know, it just felt like it was a little off of like, this isn't as fun as college.
Yeah, I think, sometimes people build, culture's important, right? Because
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
the younger people coming out of college, they have certain expectations. They want to have some luxuries
Yeah.
and you have to provide. But culture's a hard thing to just
yeah.
quantify sometimes. And like First Form has it down. If you ever get to go out there in St. Louis,
That'd be all.
their
yeah.
headquarters is phenomenal. How they
What is it like?
just, well, just the vibe. And when you show up, everyone knows your name. It's weird when you walk around. I'm like, wait, how do you know my name? Whether they research, maybe they put a company memo out.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just certain things, the vibe, how you feel. They have a gym that's probably bar none, like the best gym in the world.
Amazing.
But when you work out there, people put their plates back. They not only put the plates back, but the numbers are north. You know, it has
Wow.
10.
Right.
And it's just how it is.
Wow.
And it's just the way they practice. So it's just,
That's pretty cool.
yeah. And people feel good about it, you know?
Yeah. They take pride, you know, the better you treat an area, the more pride you'll take in it. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
And that was kind of Quest. Like we had days where we just, hey, Friday night, we're going to cut out early. We're all going to go-kart racing. People,
That's
it's
cool.
spontaneous stuff, right?
hell yeah.
And that's fun, right? Because then you're
Yeah.
like, oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah. Team building.
Project
like,
got done. We were able to do cool stuff.
Hell yeah.
It's interesting, but I do tell CEOs, well, listen, you're locked in your office. You have a private entrance, and you wonder why people aren't. You know, you got to
Yeah.
sometimes go out and chop it up, and you know,
Yeah.
especially if you're going to lead the ship. You know,
Dude, I was going to say, especially if you're a CEO, dude.
yeah, you can't just tell your assistant, hey, can you out make sure the lunch is served?
Yeah. Is everyone happy out
Hey,
there?
can you make sure they're happy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's key to success.
It is. Yeah. And you know, you got to lead from the head down.
Yeah, and especially if you want to attract talent too.
Yeah. Yeah. The ethos of a company is so important too, because, you know, you get people that are fired up, that want to work there and are having a good time working there, they're going to do better work no matter which way you spin it. And I think putting those people together and that experience that you have while you're doing it, it makes it all the difference for not only the people on the back end, which are all you guys, right? But everyone on the front end that's receiving the product. Because I just think it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And versus like, you know, pencil pushing in an office that no one's having a good time. It's like, you feel replaceable. You don't feel important. I think that it's a important thing to do.
Yeah, we accomplish that at Legendary Foods. I brought you guys some of the snacks.
Yeah,
The same thing there. We have a little campus in Santa Monica, and it's no one keeps track of your time. No one, we shut down yesterday early to go watch Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
But like, there's no one like, hey, where are you? People come in at 10. If they may stay till 8 at night. Maybe they don't come in at all.
And by the way, I had the cinnamon roll product from Legendary, and holy smokes, it is the closest thing to like just unpackaging a cinnamon roll and eating it that I've ever had. And it's like, I've never had a protein product that is that healthy, tastes that close to what it's actually trying to be.
Good deal.
And I'm not even just saying that for the podcast. Like, I could live off
Sponsored,
that thing.
but
Yeah, like I could literally live off that thing. So I would swear by that.
Well, that's one of the goals in the food space. You want to trick people, right? Like, so we used to say at Quest, now we're saying at Legendary. Imagine going to a Super Bowl party, right? Your friend's house, you got all the Doritos and everything. We want to mirror that. We want to have a sweet rolls, potato chips, all the stuff, and you have a healthy option. And the good news is they taste good, right?
I love that. Yeah. Where you put out a tray of the cinnamon rolls and you're like, I just baked them, and you can tell, right?
And I'll be honest, because a lot of my friends that have kids are the true test, right? An 8-year-old will say this is bullshit. Or
my little brother, he's 10. He would love that cinnamon
But I'm saying
roll.
his kids will call you out. Like Quest was harder because it's a protein bar, but with the sweet rolls and the Pop-Tarts, as I call them, it's almost a no-brainer. I tell my friends, hey, just warm it up for your kid, 10 seconds, just give it to him with a glass of milk, and it's a game changer.
It's
it really
game
is.
over, dude. I'm thinking about it right now.
And the chips, when we have the chips, you'll be making nachos out of them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Hell yeah.
But we have some cool stuff coming out. Some really I always say this, you go into a 7-Eleven, all the shit we want to buy, Hostess, Twink, we're going to have the simulations of those. Yeah.
Oh, that's
and that's the name.
It's reinventing the space, yeah.
And listen, I mean, America's not getting any skinnier. Right. I mean, and so if we could just have healthy options, you have an option. I'm not saying you have to, but it's an option.
Totally.
It's great. Yeah.
Totally.
Well, how long has Legendary been a company?
We started probably a year before Quest sold.
A year before? Nice. You said it's the people from Quest or no?
Yeah. The founder of Quest started it.
Okay.
Yeah, Ron and Shannon.
Awesome.
Yeah.
They
love it. They're super foodies.
Yeah. I mean, clearly. They know what they're doing too, so.
And it's kind of like I said, I'm going back to like there's no science guys. They're lit. If you walked in there, we have kids. I say they're kids mixing shit, and okay, this came out pretty good.
Dude, perfect.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
But they're passionate. That's the key thing. They're passionate.
That's the best ingredient.
Yeah,
is passion.
I don't care what you film, selling clothes. If you're passionate about something, that's all that matters.
Yeah. If you love anything enough, you'll find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's inspiring too.
So.
Dude. 999 lives, man.
Yeah, so my last one, I'm really, I have a coach. It's interesting. I thought the coaching stuff was a little like, not hokey, but you hear people have coaches, right?
Yeah.
I know, and there's acting coaches. Yeah. And, but I realized everyone has a coach.
Yeah.
So I got a coach because my biggest holdup in life has been to where I am now is self-doubt as far as I want to do public speaking and coaching, right? But for the longest time, I was like, who's going to listen to Bruce? But then the more I experienced things, and then I hired this coach, he goes, Bruce, here's the deal. Everyone in the world has one book in them, right? Because your story is your story, right? Even if only your parents will buy the book, at least you have a book, right?
Mm-hmm. I see what you mean.
He said, you might have 5 or 6, one for marketing, one for your transition to bodyguard work.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
he lived 1,000 lives. So he could write 1,000 books.
So he goes, just maximize it. Self-doubt, we all have self-doubt, right? Or imposter syndrome and everything. But at the end of the day, I have a story to tell, and if I could change a couple people's lives, why not? So I'm trying to do more podcasts. I'm doing more speaker panels. I did something the other night with Tim Story, who's kind of Tim Story is a motivational speaker.
Yeah.
I'm just doing more stuff. I want to get on the big stage and maybe do some seminars and stuff. But that's what I want to do now.
But this is it. You're building the muscle right now.
So I figure like this: if I could help someone and they get an opportunity to work at a Quest early on, I'm going to show them, hey, dig in, man, dig in. Outwork all these people in your company.
Hell yeah.
Because one thing I learned, I was always worried about, I used to use this term, I don't want to step on anyone's toes. And the founder would say, dude, crush their fingers. Mm-hmm. Forget their toes, crush their fingers. If they're in your way, just walk around them. You don't have to say anything to them. If Brock doesn't want to help you, cool. I'll do it on a weekend.
Yeah.
And that's what I used to do because I'd always, I don't want to piss off the guy in marketing. I don't want to piss off the sales guy. I would just go do it.
Yeah. Like, what are they going to get mad at you for being productive?
That was it. That was it.
Yeah.
And I found myself, I was kind of doing sales because I'd be out in the field and I'd be dealing directly with GNC and Vitamin Shop. And I think they got a little like, oh, gee, you kind of, but the revenue kept coming, right? So
Yeah. I mean, what's the worst case scenario in that?
Yeah.
Like you might upset a couple people, but they're only going to be upset with themselves for not performing. As well as you.
Yeah.
If anything, it'll put a fire under their ass
Exactly.
and get them going. Which is better for the company.
And I say this, I mean, if I started up, I had my own business, but technically I was an intern, right? I helped them for 9 months for free. And I tell people, if you could go for 9 months for free just helping them, and by the way, I had no illusion of anything. I didn't think, there was no promise of anything, but if you could go from that 9 years later becoming a millionaire, who would not commit their time to that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I didn't even know that was going to happen, right? But if I met someone that had a business, I'd be like, what do I need to help you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially if it's something that you see has potential,
And you're passionate about it, right?
and you're in the right place at
Yeah.
the right time to
Yeah.
see the opportunity and take it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being able to recognize that.
And the world is, I mean, look, to be young again, right? Look at with AI and all the opportunities and crazy shit you could do from your computer. I mean,
yeah.
Dude, we were talking about AI the other day. It's like insane what's happening right now. Insane.
matter of fact, so I spoke the other night at this panel with Tim Story and like 5 of us, and it was at a restaurant, and the guy sent me the questions that he said, here's the questions I'm going to ask you. And I was like, well, I go, dude, wait, you had the AI wrote these. Because how it read, he goes, well, but I modified them. I go, dude, you're my friend. Can't you just write the questions?
Right.
But he had AI do them.
Oh, no shit.
And I could tell they were written.
Did he like not take out like the format of it?
It
or
was just
something?
how
It was,
I
like,
read it. I go, this is too
robotic.
Robotic. I
Yeah,
go, you're
yeah.
my friend. You could have said, hey, remember that time? Yeah.
Right.
So people are
That time in
Yeah.
1997.
So I think people are using it a little much already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am concerned about the actors because that's with the strike, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that whole thing is scary.
It's a major concern. The one of the main points that I keep seeing everywhere and that read up on is how they're trying to use someone's likeness in perpetuity for a day
Ever.
rate of like $300 basically forever. Yeah. So that not only gets rid of that person's opportunity to work more.
Yeah.
They're only getting paid the one time and don't make money off that for the rest. Like if you're going to tell me you're going to pay me $300 and every time you use me again I get $300 and I don't even have to be there, I might entertain that, but at the same time, maybe not, maybe my favorite thing to do in the world is to be on set, so it's just like, if you can take a big actor and take all of their performances ever and do everything and create this AI, this thing, it's robbing us of the ethos of what acting and storytelling really is, it's human.
Mm-hmm.
To take that away, it's an interesting dynamic. It's an interesting conversation that needs to be had, and people need to be protected. And so that's why this, strike is going down. Not just for that specific reason.
Yeah.
There's other reasons, obviously, but that is one of the elements for sure. AI is a looming threat for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
They'll figure it all out.
Yeah.
There'll be rules against it, ways to track it, but right now it's the Wild West.
Mm.
Yeah. But it's giving, it's really just the way that the evolution of the industry in itself is evolving, and it's giving less to the bottom line and making it harder for people to have a living and to survive or even to qualify for healthcare. You really only have to make $26,000 off of acting as a SAG member.
Do you have benefits?
To make the benefits, of healthcare, and 87% of the actors don't even make
make
that.
it. Wow.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah. So you can be on 3 different shows as a guest star and look like you're killing it on all these great shows, and then you're not even qualifying. Yeah. So it's a tricky time, but I think something good is going to happen. Hopefully they resolve something soon so we can all get back to work, but at the same time, however long it takes, I guess. So yeah, I'm looking for another job.
I think us 3 need to start a company.
Well, there's always something to start.
Hell yeah.
That would be awesome though, man. Yeah. So what's long term? Do you have any long term goals? Any plans? Any visions? Or
a book is in the works.
Yeah, that's what you mean.
Called My Quest.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Why-
my journey.
Yeah, I'm like the
Why'd you
quest.
come up
I
with
get
that?
it.
It's a little play on that, but it's means my journey, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
For sure.
yeah, it might not be, but that's kind of what.
Dude, that is a great title.
And the guy,
Yeah.
crazy, I always go back to life. My life is relationship capital. And I always try and make more deposits than withdrawals. I mean, most people know me. I'm always depositing in their account, helping them. And so I just lucked out. I met the guy, I don't remember his last name, Mark, but he wrote a Chicken Soup for the Soul,
Oh
Yeah.
which sold
it
like,
was huge.
I don't know, 10
It was
million,
like-
some staggering number. I had a call with him last week and he's like, yeah, I told him my story. He goes, I want to help you write the book.
Wow,
And he
dude.
goes, and he told me all his resources. I'm like, oh shit, like, I think I got to do this.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
why not, right? I mean, I think a lot of people write books, they don't know what they're going to do, and they just do it. But he goes, no, let's walk through the whole plan. Let's make it, the book's going to come out. You're going to talk on stage about it. You're going to talk on a podcast. He goes, people, there's got to be something.
Yeah.
And then game, right?
Well,
Of course.
The great thing about a book too, and that's one thing I love, and that's one thing I want to entertain eventually one day. And I have had conversations about as well. But it's you can promote that and run with that for the rest of your life.
Right.
Yeah. So it's something that and you can write and make as many of them as you want, but to have that one and especially to step into the speaking space, and you see some of the biggest influencer, I don't know if influencer is the correct word, but they are influential people that have these books, and to the day they're like, look, this is how I became worth $1 billion. This is my mindset. This is my journey. This is how I got there. There's going to be tools and tricks in here, and they'll constantly reference that because that's their Bible.
Yeah.
That's their piece that you can always go back to. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. That's awesome, dude. Good, Congratulations. Yeah. I look forward to being the first person to get it signed by you.
We're making, I'm writing and we're creating comic books.
Are you really?
A lot more pictures than your book, but.
I think isn't Comic-Con's going on now? I think.
It's San Diego.
Yeah, I've gone a couple years. That's pretty fun. I like. I had a small, insignificant collection when I was a kid, but comic books are.
You should come.
They're fun. They're fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's never. No matter what age, they're fun.
Yeah.
Totally.
You have a theme, or is it going to be all about you? Big guy.
Well, Brock's he's the mainline hero of everything, but then we have tons of spin-offs with other characters and other time periods, very fantasy based.
Yeah.
But it's the main inspirations are Predator, Blade, Tomb Raider, stuff like that. So it's fun adventure stuff.
And how do you get graphic people that are good at graphics? I mean, how do you create
so we have each book requires a penciler to do the layout
outline.
And then he's kind of like the director, and then a inker sometimes the penciler inks, and then color, and then letterer, and then just format.
That's
and you're
legit.
Good. It's awesome. It's so much fun.
And then when's it gonna I know, is there a launch per se, or is it just roll them out? Or?
We got books here we'll give you on the way out.
Really?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So we have the first 3 here, and there's another 3 in this volume coming out, and then there's
That's
2
cool.
from McKenna right now.
2 for the female spinoff.
Out of 6?
Out of 5.
Out of 5. I thought it was 5.
But I'm writing volume 2 right now.
And then volume 2 is coming. So we've expanded this universe. Imagine it's like a Marvel universe.
Yeah.
It's like a DC, but it expands. It's not a linear, like a movie, just a single one-off. It has a lot of legs.
No, that's cool. I remember one of my clients, the guy that owns Revlon, he bought Marvel. He owned it for about 2 or 3 years. And,
Wow.
No way, really?
Yeah. And that was when Stan was still alive.
Yep.
Wow.
And I got to meet him and went to a couple, and I was like, this is fun shit. This is your little boy, and you was like, wow, I'm cool. And I got to collect the little different characters and stuff.
Our buddy.
I'm super jealous of that.
No, I was literally blown away because and they would say, hey, do you want us to send any things for your kids? I'm like, really? Oh my God.
That's awesome.
And by the way, I thought, I know all these people, millionaires, billionaires, but bringing a to your kid is priceless.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Of a Spider-Man or some shit.
Yeah.
Or the Hulk.
Yeah. Our buddy that I met through Will, Klaus, founded LA Comic-Con, right? With Stan Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I have a picture with Stan somewhere we met. And
he was
an icon.
Amazing. He was the first person I met, and Nicolas Cage's wife, who was at this event in LA.
Really?
My first time ever coming. And I was like, no way.
I like that he made the cameos in his movies.
So good.
So bad. Yeah.
We were with Mike Tyson one night, and he said Stan had all of these drawings of Marvel superheroes and all this different stuff, but they put him in it. Mike Tyson, yeah. And then they got stolen, so he lost all of them. But
all this custom stuff from Stan Lee.
One of his favorite treasures that he's irreplaceable to him. That's probably one of his favorite ones. He said, and I was like, dang.
Mike was a client for a couple of years.
Oh no way!
When he had that separation from Don King when they split up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember Irving Azoff and a guy named Jeff Wald, who's passed away, but they started managing him. And I remember Jeff.
I had no idea Irving managed him.
Oh yeah,
Irving's
Jeff,
like an uncle.
He's a legend.
Yeah.
And
that's crazy.
They called me. Jeff called me. Hey, you need to come to our office. I will. Sure, tomorrow. I got a new client for you, and I could walk in and Tyson's sitting there.
Wow.
And he goes, well, listen, we took over his management, and I'm like, okay, how's this go down? I'm thinking, am I gonna get hurt?
Oh my God.
I helped him. He did 3 fights. They were, with Vegas, and was trying to clean up his, he had no money. I mean, it was sad, like what happened. I think he was the highest paid athlete in the world at that time.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the time. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
whatever, 90s sometime. And then he was, was trying to regain and
Yep.
had a couple fights in Vegas, but nicest guy. He was super gentleman.
Cool. Yeah.
Soft spoken. I'm thinking this guy.
Yeah.
Oh my
Mine
God.
was more to kind of keep things together, because
Of
Well,
course.
we met him recently. It was a few months ago. I can't remember.
Yeah, a
like
couple
6
months.
months ago, 5-6 months ago. But he was like extremely philosophical, very soft spoken. But then when he would mention he's like, I'm a predator. You're like, if the actual predator from the movie
Right.
you fought, you would win. Like
you can never forget that.
No, he has something in him that's just different.
I helped him out. He had a lot of assets that were out there, cars that he didn't know where they were and stuff. I just tried to help him keep it together. But he was a nice guy. Did a couple fights in Vegas.
He's a really cool guy, man. I just feel like he's like I don't know who I compare him to right now, but like through time, there's these incredible people that have done amazing things that last all through time. And I feel like he's our present day, like, I don't know, not a Marcus Aurelius, but like something in that space of like just this, like Achilles, like he's like Mike Tyson is that of today.
Yeah.
But it's in retrospect, we can't see it because he's just such a like, or we can, I guess, at the same time. But it's just like, it's crazy because it's happening now. You know what I mean? He's that of our time. You couldn't stop him.
No, dude, if fighting was like swords like it was back in the day, he would have been the best swordman, right? Like
he's a conqueror.
He's a fighter, yeah.
Yeah.
But do you guys meet him socially or doing business with him or just
social?
Socially, yeah. But yeah, just a cool dude. Yeah. We went to a country concert.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Midland.
Yeah, we went to
Greek
Midland
theater.
backstage. Yeah. It was,
the Greek theater?
Yeah.
I love the Greek.
Oh, it's so good.
Good spot.
Yeah.
I've been to Greek a few, all work. It was all work with CLS. I don't think I ever went just as a personal thing.
Really?
I remember one time I met Sting there, and it's kind of funny. He's a pretty funny guy. We meet him at the hotel, and I get in the car in the front seat, and Charlie's driving, and Sting gets in. He always drove him. He said, "Next thing, this is Bruce. He's with the police," and he goes, "Oh, I used to be with the police too."
Oh,
that was how we met. So
I clicked immediately.
So funny.
yeah. I was like, okay, guys got
awesome.
Jokes. But
That's awesome.
Oh, he's a super nice guy. I actually went and saw him in residence in Vegas last year.
That's cool.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's cool. I think I've been twice to the Greek, and I think one of them was Mariah. I was with a bunch of friends because we had met her before, and she pulled me up on stage, and they did the whole thing or whatever.
They pulled you on stage?
Yeah, and she like danced around on like this whole thing, blindfolded me and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But it was an experience because the people that came up after, I was like, I didn't know you were in the audience. Okay, it was nice to meet you. Big fans of some of these people.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
But it was a cool experience. But yeah, no, like live music is just amazing.
I feel so fortunate I was able to work with artists because, hey, they're unique people, I've been to so many shows working, but it's still amazing.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Hollywood Bowl, I remember I had to escort Courtney Love off stage.
No way.
shit.
It was crazy. She opened up for the Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh
And
my
Hollywood
God,
Bowl,
yeah.
Hollywood Bowl has
such a 90s lineup.
Hollywood Bowl, that's when she had the band Hole. But the Hollywood Bowl has a curfew. You have to end by like 11 p.m. And she started late, which she always ran late. They say you got 6 songs. So when that ended, they started adjusting the lights. She goes, "No, I'm not done." And she sat down and just started playing her guitar, sitting down Indian style. And they're moving the equipment. And then the stage manager come over and pulls me and goes, "Hey, she's either going to get off stage or we're going to call the police and have them." I have a picture. I'm in Us Weekly. I walk out on stage and I bend down. I'm like, "Hey, we got to go." She said, "I'm not done singing." I go, "No, you understand. Like, we're gonna go to jail."
Yeah.
And then you're pissing off the Pumpkins because they
who are headlining,
I
right?
had to help her up.
Dang.
I'll send you the picture. It's me.
You gotta send me that
It's
photo.
I'm bending down, like negotiating, and I'm horrified because I'm like, they're thinking, who's this dumbass trying to talk to her, right?
Dude.
Yeah.
What an iconic moment,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll throw that in a clip, dude. That'd be great.
You need to
I'll send you some pictures. Yeah.
Yeah, you need to like blow that picture up and like frame it on the wall. That's
That's awesome, man.
Well, thanks for having me. Seriously,
Dude.
I feel like we could have gone on for hours.
I discovered you online, and when I told UC, I said, you know him? Because he knew your dad. And
Dude,
and
one of the greatest human. Shout out to UC, by the way.
Ever need body work and you can afford him? He's the best in the industry.
It's unreal. Like they called him Finish Magic because you literally like you don't even know what he's doing or how he does it, and then you're just your blood flow and everything. You just
has he ever worked on you?
He hasn't.
My lower back kind of bothered me, and he worked on me one day, and he goes, "It's not your lower back, Bruce. It's your trap." I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "No, it's here." And I'm like,
my shoulder was killing me for weeks,
and it's because of something else.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, it's your
it's
your fucking."
He literally there's that are gifted.
Yeah.
He's
I've
he's
seen
worked
the
on
results from him working
artists and musicians. Yeah.
He's Laird
Super
Hamilton.
nice.
Yeah, you name it.
Yeah,
You've met him, right?
I met him.
The nicest guy in the world.
He's so nice, man.
He was with the Indiana Pacers for a while, with like Deadlift Shrimp, and that
he traveled with Bono.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's pretty cool when you get that kind of demand,
Dude.
right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
What a great guy.
That's
well,
cool,
thanks for
man.
having me.
Dude,
Bruce,
thank you.
Anytime. Let's get together again soon.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching Studio 22.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
And follow our socials at Studio 22 Podcast.